Where are you, Scusa?
Something in the drink at the Greek picnics. Something in the drink. Something in the drink at the Greek picnics. Something in the drink. There's something in the water. It's probably not what you think. Fresh out the municipality, treatment center to the sink. Are the masses drugged? Could it be Satan? If you want that christening, it's gonna come through the blood on a thorn. If you're nurturing that logos, I'm with the compania. I found the discarded Aphrodite and Bacchus. There's fluorosilicic acid in your water. As I stated, back up in the business. Teddy Bass, the Chaldees. For my lady Medea, the queen of Babylon. Something in the drink at the Greek picnics. Something in the drink. Something in the drink at the Greek picnics. Something in the drink.
Welcome back to Lady Babylon. It's so nice to have you. Now, tonight, I've got a whole bunch of great sources lined up, and then we're going to go take a little walk and see Gnostic Informant, who will be waiting for us. It's so nice. I want to say thank you to everybody who's involved in this enterprise, because we all know this is bigger than just some lunatic broadcasting from his kitchen. We know that. You guys who are working on the transcripts, everybody who is involved in the process that the museum is going through, thank you for your dedication and your hard work, for which you will never be paid a dime. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's sacred duty, and we all know it is. So, everybody who is involved in the process of bringing these sources to your brothers and sisters, thank you very much. Thank you. The museum is coming back. Tonight, I want to start with something just a little light to edge us in. By the way, thanks, Teddy. Thanks for the tunes. Love it. Let's go right in tonight to a little bitty. This is like an appetizer, right? It's an appetizer. Just wait, just wait. The time machine is working, and when it gets there, we'll be ready for the main event. But for now, I want to start with something that I remember telling you. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember? They are going to find one of these types of psychosis inducing drugs that's being used in antiquity. The archaeologists are getting too good. Just wait for it. Wait for it. It's coming. Well, it came. It came. Thank you. Thank you. It's February, right? Where are we? Chewy. Where are the star charts? Give us that first one. Yep. Oh, God. And tonight you're going to have to blow them all up. Oh, God. Archaeologists find evidence of hallucinogenic drug in ancient Rome. Fantastic. Fantastic. Congratulations to Elaine. Nice job, Elaine, writing this thing up. Beautiful. Go hit the next one, Chewy. What's going to happen here? What are the archaeologists going to tell us? Oh, this is so exciting. This is so exciting. Boom. The scholars make the discoveries at so and so place. It's a site in the Netherlands. It was inhabited from the 6th century BC. You can forget the E. None of us care. Through the century C. What is that? That's Anno Domini, babies. Yeah, you know how we do it. We don't use their lingo. They don't like that, but I don't care. When it was under Roman rule, the findings comprise a 90 to 110 Anno Domini basket or fish trap buried face down with the plant, and a polished and hollowed sheep or goat femur containing around 1,000 black henbane seeds. Hey, somebody stop that guy. He can't do that here right outside the concert. What's he doing with all of those drugs? This is the jackpot, people. This is exactly the drug that I told you we would see come to life, the hands of the archaeologists. Look at that. That was 100% accuracy. You got to give me that one. Oh, love it. Now, wait, there's a lot more that you and I know about the drugs. And guess what's going to happen? Yeah. Watch go back to that quote for a second there, Chewy. I don't mean to step on your toes here. Go ahead. Boom. Yes. What can you tell us? Well, there's 1,000 black henbane seeds, right? And it's in this thing. It's in a little carrying case. Isn't that nice? An ancient drug carrying case, hollowed out femur. That's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind having some bit of antiquity like that. Ooh, can you smell that? Can you smell that? They hate that. They hate that overseas. They hate that in the island, on the island. They do. Ooh, they're too sophisticated for that, right? Their scholars wouldn't look into it, so they missed the boat. But we're gonna get fortunate and find it. Oh God, I love this stuff. Look, what else did they say? What's the next one? She said something else. What's the genius here? There's a professor here. Who is this? Dr. Goot. Dr. Goot. Dr. Goot. Nice job. What I particularly like about this find is the potential link between medicinal knowledge described by Roman authors in Roman Italy and people actually using the plant in a small village on the edge of the empire. Right? Oh, isn't that nice? Well, noting that although she cannot rule out its consumption before the Roman period, it is tempting to classify the drug as a Roman introduction. No, 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 no. Stop, stop. No, that's not what's going to happen. Now, see, it was good, Dr. Goot, that you found it. Right now. Just wait. It's coming. Let's show Dr. Goot the drug. Let's bring up the next one, please. Yeah, is that the oh, well, here. No, this is the one. Go there. Dr. Goot, look what I'm gonna put up here for you. This is just for you and me. Thanks for coming tonight, by the way, Dr. Goot. It's nice to have you here. Look, here's your drug, huoscuamos. Right? And what is the huoscuamos? It's the cuamos dios. You didn't know that. It's God's drug. You know what that cuamos is? Oh, I'm afraid to tell you because you're going to say that's dirty. Breast buds. The breast bud of the God. Do you know what the breast bud of the God does to you? Whoo, you're about to see. Ready? Watch this. Blow that up, Chew. I need to run through this list of names. Look at these people. What do they call this drug? They call it the Pythonian, right? Following Pytho, right? And the traditions of the Pythia. What else do they call it? They call it, oh, I'm introducing you tonight. They call it Adamas. Oh, it's a Hebrew word. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's an ancient Greek word that was around 1,000 years before the dude who created the Septuagint in the 3rd century BC, before he wrote his work. So this Adamas, oh, are you beginning to see it, satanic congregation? Are you beginning to see? Do you see Adam? Do you see who he is? You were told his name means mud. It doesn't. His name means indestructible, permanent, lasting. Woo! Who's going to have to do that? The Ewa. The Ewa's going to do that. She's the one who's got the cup. Are you ready? Are you ready, people? And people are like, what is he saying? I need some kind of summary. Okay, I'm going to try as your tour guide. Everybody off the boat. Off the boat. We're going on the island. 2,000 years ago. Oh, God. You smell that fresh air? Whew. Let's go to the next one. Oh, no, I mean, keep going with that one. Look, Dr. Goot, what else are they they're calling? Look how widespread this thing is, okay? This is the drug that they were just talking about. Henbane or Helleborus niger, Black henbane. Okay, henbane. Love it. What do they call henbane? Right? What else do they call it? They call it the hypnotic. Don't you love that? They call it the emanes. What does that mean? It means to be in a state of mania. Don't you want to be in a state of mania? How many people out there are on drugs from pharmaceutical companies for their minds? Guess what? It was the mania that you were missing. Oh, let's do this. What else do they call this thing? Blow that up. I'm going to finish this, Chewy. What else do they call this thing? They call it the maniac drug. They call it the drug of fury. Democritus, the brain, the genius Democritus, who's Mr. Atomic Theory. What is he doing? He's calling it the thriambon, the Dionysiac drug. Ooh, are we into the Bacchics? Are we into the menads and the orgies? Yes, that's exactly where we are. What do they call it? They call it the hypnotic, the Bacchic. Oh, here, well, look, we ended up at a picnic. Is that a goat? Is that a goat? I love that. Okay, can we go back to the thanks? Okay, there it is. Who else? Pythagoras. Pythagoras. You mean Pythagoras was using this dope? Look, people, what I brought you. Look, make love to my words. I bring you the voice of Pythagoras. Pythagoras was a junkie, a huge junkie. And what did Pythagoras call this drug that's associated with the Bacchic rites? What did he call it? Oh, pull it up, pull it up. Oh, look at that, look at that. Prophet, prophet, prophetes. Then Ostanes comes along. What does he do? He's another one of these magus figures. What does he call it? He calls it, he uses the Thracian word, people. You're going to love this. You don't see Thracian words a lot in Greek, but there are some. And here's one, zeleon, right? And what does that mean? Well, it's their word for oinos, for wine. Oh, okay. So does the something to you. Zoroaster calls it the Typhonian. The Typhonian. Ooh, isn't that? What do the Romans call it? The Romaioi call it. Listen to the name. Listen to the name of this drug, Dr. Goot. This is what you're looking for. The Romans call your drug insania. Ooh, you just discovered, Dr. Goot. You just discovered insania. Who wants it? Okay, we're gonna have it at the end of the service. We're gonna have it out. Everybody gets it. Everybody gets it. Isn't this great? Because where are we? Where did we come to? We came to a mystery cult, right? We're there. We're there. Where's Jesus? Bring in Jesus. Isn't somebody gonna? And I'll do a tap dance while you do that. By the way, hey Jesus. Oh, he's so scary. Why did they paint him like that? He looks like, oh, seriously, have a talk with those Byzantine artists, man. There's something wrong. Let's go ahead and we're going to have Neil come. So let's go ahead and proceed. That's enough song and dance. Get us the next one. Go. Here we are. Back to the text. We got to go through this quick. One more time up there. One more time. Who else calls it what? Right, the Tuscoi, who are probably the Tuscan. That's the people in northern Italy, right? They have their own word for it, so it's up there. The Egyptians use it, and they have their word for it, right? Sappho. Sappho. Oh, isn't that nice? Kind of sounds like Sappho. Shut up. Love it. Yeah, and look, the Galloi in they have it, the Dacians, they have it. Hey, Dr. Goot, the drug that you're looking for is all over the place. All over the place. Now that source is going to be contemporary, very conveniently, with your findings. Fantastic. Check it out. Check it out. See what's going on. Love it. Let's go to the next slide. Boom. I want to bring you a text, and look, this is big and delicious, but it's too much for one person to enjoy. So sit here with me and let's get together. and have some fun. I'm going to show you something. I say this, and I say this in interviews, and people look at me, and they saw, they're like, no, they're shocked, and they're like, no. And, no matter what I say, people always come back to me and say, you know what? You were right. You were right. And, they end up finding a source or something, right? I'm not here to lie, right? And I'm not making any money off of this, right? You don't have to watch 20 commercials. I don't have to try to sell you hand soap or something. I don't want to, right? I'm bringing you this with the utmost integrity because that's what the devil said to do. So, look, what is this thing? It's the toxicon. It's a passage from a Greek physician, a Byzantine physician. And what is he doing? He's describing different drugs that are being used and their cures and how to treat the symptoms. And he talks about the toxicon. I just want to translate for you. This has never been translated into English, right? So, all of you Harvard and all of you know it alls, right? Thank you. You know everything. You've never seen this, right? You've never seen this. This is brand new, baby. This is Paul of Egina. Show me Paul of Egina. Egina is an island. Oh, love it. So many beautiful islands. We all need to go there. By the way, the entire congregation will be invited in the future to a grand celebration in Greece. Time is coming. We will be there. We will be there. Oh God. I appreciate you, congregation. I appreciate you and everything that you do. That people don't even see that's going on. I love it. I love it. This is fantastic. So tell us about this toxicon. Oh, great. Paul, tell us about this. And he says, well, the name of the drug seems to come from the fact that they are Christing their arrows in the poison. They're what? They're Christing them. Look at that second line, right? Fifth word in, Christai. That's what they're doing. Do you understand that Christ is a pharmacological term in antiquity? Jesus didn't pop up and all of a sudden it was there. Oh, I'm a Christ. What? You're what? Who's that? Right? No, it's been around. It's been around since Medea. We all know that. By the way, I went on Walking Dead. No, Raising. No, hang on. Oh my God, Wake the Dead. Did you hear that voice? That was a soft voice in the distance there. Oh my God, Wake the Dead. Okay, so that was a lot of fun. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Everybody, uh, get in there and love it. I hope you like it. I hope you like it. You're my biggest critics. So thank you. Okay, let's go to the next. Yes, that one. Okay, so tell us about the toxicon. Tell us about it. Now I'm going to put these on, leave them on, and read it to you. People are like, "Hey, what is that guy doing?" Okay, it's called the toxicon because they go ahead and they Christ their arrows with it. But for those who drink it, their lips and their tongues swell up, and they get a mania that is uncontrollable, where they see all sorts of hallucinations. And on account of this, right, the therapy is impossible. They're impossible to deal with. And rarely can you save somebody when they've drunk it like this. Oh my God. And what do you have to do? Tell me, Doc. What do you do? Can you feel yourself there, right? What do you do for this person? You put chains on them and you force them to throw up using emetics. And he gives a whole list of things that you're going to have to force this person to drink and vomit. And then there's all sorts of plants that they want you to give him to deal with it, to try to counteract. But he says, here's the problem. Here's the problem. This is the beauty at the end of this passage, right? Here's the problem, he says. There are some that escape the danger of this drug. And those people, they end up bedridden. Yeah. And when they can finally get up, there's something wrong with them. For the remaining time, their remaining time, they are in a state of constant paranoid terror. Oh my God. Seriously? What did you do to them? What did you do to these people's brains, brah? What are they doing in antiquity to people's brains? Holy mackerel. I thought that whole story of that Bronze Age queen who was poisoning people and castrating them and turning them into sex toys that she would beat mercilessly, that they were always in a state of total abject servitude. Wow. You can actually make that kind of person? Yeah. Yeah. It's getting deep. It's getting deep. Look, for those of you who have weak stomachs, now's the time. Take out your vomit bags and we'll make our way into it. Let's get to the next one. I got some chunkiness here, people. I know you'd love it. Where's the chunkiness? Oh, yeah, bring it in. That's the next one. Yeah. Look, for those of you who are in my Greek course and come to dojo and work out, right? Look, you can see hermaphroditus at the top of it, right? This is on hermaphrodites, right? He's a doctor, dude. Give him a little credit. And he says, hey, and I had the privilege of sitting down with a student of mine in Greek who is also a doctor. And she was able to talk me through this, flash up some diagrams, the development, and what happens. Oh my, boom, bam, bing. There it is. Nature all lined out. Hermaphrodite. What happens here? I want you to just think for a minute the conclusion here. At the end, we're going to end up performing some surgery in order to create the best of the 4 different types of genders that hermaphrodites have. And you're like, what? What? Yeah. He says, just wait. And not only that, he says somebody else is writing about this, right? Apparently it's common enough at the time for the doctors around to be aware of, hey, there are 4 types of hermaphrodites, right? Depending on positioning of the genitalia. And he talks about the positioning. And I'm scratching my head, Doc, can you make sense of this? Right? Oh, but we end up doing a little surgery. Isn't that nice? Artificial insemination and gender surgery. Did you know they did that in antiquity in the society that created calculus with their words? Did you know that? These are the people who said we go around the sun. Wow, isn't that amazing? You'd think they would have been able to beat that out of people in the Middle Ages. Thank you so much to the people. Thank you so much to the Christians in the Middle Ages. Yes. Oh, he's going to blame Christianity. No, I'm just blaming the Christians who at the time were torturing and killing people for their beliefs, right? To those people who made the Middle Ages such a dump. My apologies to medieval historians, but your period is a dump. Yeah, it is. Thank the muse that there was some Byzantine scholars to stand in your way. Oh God. Oh God. Where does my allegiance lie? Lies with the muse in the museum. Love it. Let's go to the next one. Or to the hermaphrodite. Let's just finish off I just wanted you to notice a couple of things about the hermaphrodite here. That's all. We have to consider that of these 4 types, the genders are going to be determined very anatomically and very logically, but we don't have any problem. This is not something that is fatal, right? Determining gender is a process that the ancient physician has to be a part of. Isn't that interesting? Wow. It's gorgeous. But remember, their technology is way beyond where you think it was. Their chemical technology is way beyond that. Okay, so let's go to the next one. I want to shock and awe people. Um, Boom. Okay, people, look what else I brought. This is just dirty, dirty stuff. Are you ready? And when I mean dirty, I mean intellectually dirty. Don't be don't be foul. Right? Love it. Take a look at this. What is this? This is about the nymphotomia. Oh, wait, what is that? That's the nymphotomy. A nymphe, as we have already seen, as my Greek students know, is translated as clitoris. What he says here is hypermegethes. What happens? A hypermegethes nymphe genitae. It comes about. This ginormous clitoris sometimes is the result of the hermaphroditic thing. And this thing, he says, this clitoris, now imagine this. Imagine this. A clitoris that he says becomes erect just like a penis. Fantastic. Can you imagine that? What a brilliant bit of nature. That's amazing. That's amazing. Fantastic. And there it is. There it is for you to see. Right? And remember, these hermaphrodites, they are part of the religion. If you cut hermaphroditism out of the ancient mystery, it won't stand. You can't have it. Sorry, you can't have it. Remember, Aphrodite, the very earliest depictions. Put some Aphrodite up there, please, Chewy. The very earliest depictions of Aphrodite are of her with what looks like a penis. And for all of you biologists out there who do not have, who have public decency, you know that the same tissue that the clitoris is becomes the penis, right? The default is the female, right? We were all females. I'm sorry, but at one point we were all females. And then with the testosterone hit some of us and screwed things up. Yeah, isn't that funny? We're a degenerate form biologically. The masculine form is the degenerate. It only makes sense. XY wise, yeah. Point that little chromosome. It's damaged, right? Yeah, don't you love that? So, oh, right, XXY, love it. Let's go back to the text. And we don't need to go back to the. What do they do surgically? They do what they consult with the parents would be the best thing, right? He says you're doing it with the sense of propriety for the child, right? And so they decide what to do. And in one case, it's when your clitoris is huge, like a penis, then they will cut part of it off and shape it so that it returns to approximate, an average clitoris, or as close as they can get. Right? Remember, they're nipping and tucking the scrotal tissue as well. Right? These are people who, I mean, just that physician that we were looking at, Paul of Vagina, he's known for being the best guy to repair hernias. Right? So if he knows how to repair a hernia, he probably has also repaired a few scrotal, tissue things and tucked them here. And, the perineum is right there. And he mentions the perineum, right? This is, where we are. Ground zero is the perineum. Okay, fantastic. We're well within. Does everybody see the rite going on? Does everybody hear the music, right? See the rite? You sitting on your throne? Oh, God, I love this. Let's go back. Thank you, people, for indulging me. And I know Gnostic is there waiting. We're getting close to being done. Go. Hit the next one. I want everybody to get all of this. Look, people, what is a Christ? What is a Christ? It's a medical term. These are the things that you Christ for those poisons that you get from the things that creep around, the what we would call reptiles, and also from the those poisonous, venomous animals. These are the boethemata. These are the things, the cures that are we're going to use, right? These are the, if you want to say remedy, there maybe antidote, but it's not quite that last word, boethemata. That's what the antidote brings you. It brings you assistance, it brings you protection. That is what the author of the Septuagint calls Eve. She is that thing for the Adamas. And oh, wait a minute. Was Adamas, was that the point? Was that the point? She had done it with the devil, right? Because we all know who's the most handsome. Who's the most handsome? Most handsome creature ever, anywhere. Who is it? It's the devil. Yeah. Yeah. So Eve then took it to Adam and did what she was supposed to have done. But what Yahoo was trying to keep to himself. Isn't that interesting? The devil's like, no, you won't die, right? You won't die. Your eyes will be open. Yeah. And they ended up naked, right? Because that's the way it is. In these rites, they're going to end up naked. I'm going to show you a naked grown up man with Jesus at the end tonight. Okay, give it. People want it. People want to see Jesus. You want to see Jesus with a naked grown up man who's high on drugs? Are you ready? We're going to love it. Go hit the next one. I just wanted to bombard you with a few of these. Look, Thediakos, I just want you to notice that about 4 lines down, we talk about the pharmaca that are the theriac, right? That are that venom-derived curative. Yeah, venom-derived curative. This stuff's going to heal you, bro. Go to the next one. Excellent. And what is this? This is the malaktikos. That's an look. It's an emollient. And what's there in parentheses? Chrismata. This is, again, we're using the same base, but these are all different types of drugs. All different types of drugs that they're applying a very specific way. Hit the next one. They're talking about these. People these go back, way back. Your hyoscyamus, Dr. Goot, your hyoscyamus that we're talking about, your henbane. Your henbane. Guess what, man? They're talking about that in the Iliad. It's a Bronze Age fad. Look at the drugs, baby. Follow the drugs. That's the way to go. I love it. That's what we're doing. Look, people, we can never go wrong if we just always follow the concrete evidence. And in this case, it's the drugs. The drugs cut through all of the BS of the culture. They cut through everything. They get right down to the biological. Oh, God, I love it. Nature, she's gorgeous. Let's go to the next one. And finally, the sunchrisma. Look, it's so specific. You can make different types of these Christings, different forms of Christings. I love the eye Christing the best. Well, they talk about it in different drugs when you compose these ointments and they put them in the eye, right? Right. Wait, what? Didn't Jesus spit in your eyes? Well, he spit in the dirt first, then he put that, and then he put that, right? And then he spit in my mouth. Spit in my mouth, Jesus. Spit in my mouth. It gets my goat that nobody wants Jesus to spit in their mouth anymore. It really gets my goat. Something is wrong with that. Bring her up. Hello, Penelope. It's good to see you. I love you so much. I love Penelope. She's my righteous goat, brother. Right? She's got that mark. Okay, let's go. Let's go to the next one. By the way, Christians, get your heads tattooed. Right? It's only 144,000 of you that are going to escape the wrath, and you got to have the name on your forehead, or that's it. Okay, good. And we showed the beast last week. Wasn't that lovely? Okay, let's go. What is he talking about? It's okay, Martha. Go, hit it. Mm, look at this. Oh, chrima. There's one. One more, one more, one more. It's also a chrisma, right? An unguent. An unguent. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. And it's all the way down in Iamblichus, right? He talks about it too. You mean these? I thought he was a philosopher. No, he's more like a historian of magic and the physics of magic. And he's, of course, he's got to be into the drugs because everything that they're doing is circling the drug, the pill box. Oh God, you can't get this stuff is all over the place. People, they're going to find out in the archaeological dig. Let me tell you what's coming next. It's getting dirty. It's getting dirty. That's what I'll say. Let's go to the next one. We fulfill prophecy. Isn't that nice? Beholdeth thou me. Periton alon sun chrismata. Concerning all those other Christing drugs. Oh, nice. Look, you've got entire sections. This is a section title of a medical work. You got an entire section about Christings. Jesus did not appear on the scene and walk up and they said, "Hey, who are you?" And he said, "Well, I'm Christ." And they were like, "Huh?" Right? No, that word had been around for centuries. And people say, now wait, now watch, behold the lie. And people, this is the one, let me just stop for a minute and say, this is the one that's really getting people right now in these interviews that I'm giving. This is the one that's getting them. Is the fact that the Septuagint's written in the 3rd century and that it's originally written in Greek, and that your words like Christ, they have nothing to do with Messiah. They have nothing to do with a Mashiach or anointing. No, they don't. They don't. The Christing is a completely different process. It was the people who wanted to control the narrative, namely the Orthodox Jews and the Christians, right? Right? Those people needed to create a narrative. And the one that they created is so absurd that even the Greeks and Romans standing around looking at them said, are you joking? Your narrative is stupid and impossible. Right? We're historians here. We don't play in fancy and fantasy. What are you talking about? Oh God. So no, it turns out that Christ, that word Christ, is not, it's got nothing to do with any sort of tradition outside of the mystery tradition, where the Christ is a term that is used for the dude who is drugged out of his mind. Yeah. Who has that, what was it? It was the breastbud of God. And when I say God, I don't mean he. Yeah. Yeah. You know how they get that? They get that with the venom. They get that with the venom. Well, what do you call her? Yeah. Oh, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Now you're starting to see Dionysus in a totally different light. You know what I mean? Oh God, I love you people. Thank you so much for giving me this time. And Neil, thank you for waiting. I'm almost there. I'm gonna fly through a couple more. I want you to see. Oh, I need 10 minutes. Neil, I need 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes and I'll be there. Get a burrito. Love it. Go to the next source. Look, I'm gonna flash through these. This is more Dioscorides, and here he's talking about the purple. And I just wanted to point out that it's also talking about treating and healing what are considered growths, right? You can debate about what kind of growths those were and what they could see on the surface of the skin and whatnot. But okay, the stuff kills growths. This is the purple. It's here, people. It's a drug. It's an actual drug. John Stewart, educate yourself, buddy. It's a drug. Fantastic. Go to the next one. Look here at the bottom. I just want you to see here at the bottom. See the pomata? You can also drink the purple, right? You can drink the purple. If your little fingers, if you're a 12-year-old girl named Mary, Mother of God, and your little purple fingers are stained from the purple that you work with, um, this is the kind of formulaic knowledge that you have to be able to stay alive. And by the way, they're going to auction you off. Wait, is this Greek? No, that part of it is not. They're going to auction her off to whoever's got the right lot, right? They're basically going to throw her out there. Why? Because this is what they do in the temple. It's merchandising. Isn't it funny? Merchandising creeps into the mystery. And at Jerusalem, it becomes about the sale of the virgin. Wow. Can you believe that? Do you know what happens when the mystery is profaned in that way, with cash, with property, with gain of goods and history, and justification for what you do to people? Do you know what that does? The mystery implodes. To cleanse itself, the mystery implodes. Oh, God. I love that. I love that. And out goes that flame. Can you restart it? Can you restart it? Supposedly. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go to the next one. Boom. Finally, I wanted to give you a little bit of this. It's just a little bit of Theophrastus. But this is a shout out to everybody who's wrapped up in the worship of Sabazius, right? Those of you out there, and how am I gonna classify you people who follow Sabazius? You have this daimonia. You have this respect for the daimones, the powers that be in nature. Do you have respect for the powers that be? Ask yourself that. The stuff that you can't see, that makes this universe tick. Do you have respect for that stuff? I do. I do. And that makes me follower of Sabazius. You mean they had a monotheistic thing going on? Yeah. So that when people tell you out there, hey, Judaism was the only monotheist. No, it wasn't. I just heard somebody say that recently, right? Somebody from Jerusalem say that. There could be nothing further from the historical truth than that. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Do you see what we're doing? We're taking back those texts. We're the museum, right? It's the text. They can't take the text from us. Love it. Bring up Hermaphrodite. Well, first show us Hermes. Chewy, bring in Hermes. Everybody, meet Hermes, please. When Odysseus met him, this is how he met him. He was a little boy, and he came up to Odysseus, and he said, "Oh, sir, you're gonna need some drugs." And he was like, "What's that, drug boy?" And he's like, "Yeah, take these drugs." And he was like, "What's that thing you're carrying?" He's like, "Oh, that's a stick with snakes on it." Oh God, I love it. And so up comes Moses, right? Up comes Moses. There's Hermes. What happens when you take Hermes and Aphrodite? Aphrodite, show yourself, please. Let's look at Aphrodite. Thanks to the AI. By the way, the AI can make movies and video games now. Isn't that fantastic? Oh, God, if this is gorgeous, who wouldn't want to live in 2024? It's crazy, man. Bring us up Aphrodite. Yeah. No, you can't. Did we leave Aphrodite somewhere? Oh, she's in the videos. We put her in the videos. Anywho, when you take Hermes and Aphrodite, then you get Hermaphroditus. Hermaphroditus, welcome. Welcome. Yes, right? Okay. Okay. Does anybody have a problem with Hermaphroditus? I don't. I don't. You know who his best friend is? Right? Eros. Eros. Oh, love it. They're always together, man. They're always together. You know what they do? They drink and they play drinking games all the time. You mean the founders of democracy thought it was okay for two underage boys to be getting drunk together, playful? Yeah, no, that was okay. It's mental health, people, right? What's in those drinks that they're drinking? Oh God, love it. Next one down. Next one down. We got to go to the next. We got to fly here. Oh, I'm so behind. Okay, I'm just gonna jump. Look, it's the dip sauce. Here's the snake venom we were talking about. You're welcome to see it later. Go to the next one, Chewy. Go to the next one, Chewy. I'm just letting people see because people inevitably ask me, or they make snide comments, on the channel here, and they say, "Where is the sources?" Right here they are. Can you even read them? You can't even read them. Go to the next one. Love it. I'll take that little stand here with a samurai. I'll cut you in half. We're going to end with a passage of Jesus. I told you we were being Jesus. I hope Neil's paying attention because this is Jesus with a naked grown man who is drugged out of his mind and he's homeless, right? Let's see what happens. And so Jesus is coming off the boat. And right away, this dude runs up to him, right from the tombs. And he's a man who is, look at the last three words, in pneumati akathartoi. He is a man who is in a spirit that is acathartic. What is that acathartic? That is the unclean. Wait, what? Well, that's how we translate it. That's not really what the Greeks said, right? They said that was the before the medical purge, right? If you want to get those demons out of your head, you're going to have to be purged. And we're not going to go the direction that you think. We're not going to a party, right? We're going to go somewhere where I got to tie you down. I got to tie you down and drug you. And I'm going to pump some stuff into you in ways that you may or may not enjoy, but you're not going to have a choice. And then you're going to see me transform, and I'm going to send you to hell. I'm going to send you to hell, and I'm going to bring you back. And when you come back, as soon as you come out of that water and suck that air, you're going to be as thankful as anybody. You're going to have seen the shit. And now you're going to know what's beyond. That's what I can promise you. Who's first? Who's first? You ready for the purge? Are you ready? Is this the stuff that we should be afraid of? Remember, the Christians are doing this. Yeah, it's the magic, baby. It's the magic, and we can trace it with those drugs. They just found a whole dump of this stuff. Some lunatic was carrying around a container of it, beautiful container of it. Oh, God, you know what those seeds do? They don't call it mania for no reason. The Romans don't walk around saying, hey, watch out for that insanity. Yeah, they don't do that just for kicks, right? Sometimes it's necessary to go there. Welcome. Let's go last. I think it's the last. Boom. Yeah. Oh, here's Jesus. Anyway, yep. Hit the next. No, hit the next source. Here's Jesus, and he says, "Look." He says, "Look, this guy had his home in the cemetery, right? And nobody was able to chain him up. Nobody was able to. Why? Because next one. Because every time they did, he'd break out. They even put hand braces on him and shackles on his feet, right? And he still was able to get free." Right? This guy can't be treated, brah. Right? He's outside and he's naked. He's naked. I promise you, he's naked. Go to the next one. Right? And Jesus is like, hey, you know what I mean? Day and night, this guy has been in the tombs. And by the way, what's he doing? What's this naked, full-grown man doing in living in a cemetery? What's he find to do that's fun? If he had some kind of page on some dating service, what would he put? Things he likes to do. Let's see. What's this man? He goes around the tombs and around the hills and the tops of the mountains. He runs around the mountains doing crazy stuff. What kind of crazy stuff does he do? Oh, he vocalizes. He vocalizes. Yeah, well, it's the way. Have you ever heard a crow? Yeah, you ever hear a frog? Frogs do that kind of funny vocalization, right? Sometimes it's a scream. Sometimes it's a scream. What? He's out there doing what? The dude is running around crazy, naked, screaming. And what else? Cutting himself. Cutting himself. Go to the next one. Why is he cutting himself? How do you think they're getting their hyoscyamus? How do you think that they're getting that henbane? Right? It's dermal applications. You combine that with the purple, right? Oh my God, you've got a recipe for causing yourself to have burning mouth with inflamed lips, right? And a psychosis. And if you add the septarian to that, your guy in the cemetery who's nuts now also has an erection. A psychotic person with an erection. Don't worry though, this is a healing process, right? This is how you heal someone. Yeah, you'll shove every ounce of garbage out of them. You're putting them through this. Just trust it. There's not centuries and centuries of Bacchic worship that resulted in Judaism and Christianity for no reason, right? It's a strong, predominant. Yeah, bring it up. Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot to mention the lupi. Look, these are our wolves. You've got to remember that when we get to Rome with all of this information, we're sitting there, these poor Romans, all they do is they build huts. You know what I mean? Come on. They're not that sophisticated. But they do have a tribe of priestesses, a group of priestesses. And these priestesses are trained wolves, right? They are the ones who are suckled. Wait, what? Yeah, they're suckled. Who suckles them? Romulus and Remus, baby. Right? Romulus and Remus. They go through the process. They receive that milk. They know that place. Yeah. Do you see her now and how important she is? They called the lupa, they called her a prostitute. She was the one who was serving, who was overcome by Mars. Do you understand? Those of you with ears to hear, do you understand? Yeah. You know why it is that she wins all the time. All the time. Yeah. Call it big brained if you want. Call it understanding the universe. But that's the very same reason that Jesus gets stuck in a public park at 4 a.m. with a naked kid screaming, "I'm not a sex trafficker." Yeah. Oh, God. Love it. Let's go to the last. This is the last. I'm coming right now. Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, and I had a verse to show he was naked because he gets back dressed. He gets dressed up. Long and short of the story, he gets dressed up again, and people from the city come out and they're fine. They're like, "Huh? Look at him. He's not crazy anymore. He's sitting there totally within a place of sanity." There's a reason that this naked man, high on drugs, ran up to Jesus the Christ. Yeah, for his resolution, for his healing. Yeah. Oh God. That's gorgeous. And finally, the last one. Yep, there. Yep. I want to go hit this last one. For some reason, I'm putting that there. Yeah. Okay. People, look at this. Just in case you were uncomfortable, here's the Greek from the Septuagint talking about coitus and spermatos. Ooh, do not defile yourself with it. Did you know you could be defiled by it? Yes, you can have akatharsia, that which is not purged, that which is the corruption. Ooh, there it is that life bubbles. Oh God, let's bring it down. I want to bring on Gnostic Informant, and I want to say before Neil jumps in, go ahead and put him up. I hope he's there. Did he? Thank you for staying with us, Neil. I appreciate it. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
How's it
And
going?
I'm sure people can't wait to hear from you. I want to ask you right off the top here. You worked on a video that is spectacular, and in the beginning of that video, you showed a little clip of your somebody, Dan McClellan, right? And he is asked a question by one of his many followers. He's asked a question, hey, what is this about Dionysus and Jesus? What are the parallels between them? And he, of course, mockingly and very arrogant, Dan, cut the arrogance, dude. It doesn't suit you. And I know your Greek sucks, brah, and I'll literally break you in half through the Greek, right? Intellectually, Dan, I'm gonna take your pants down and I'm gonna do things to you. Yeah, but here's the problem. I think Neil has basically already done that. And I just want Neil, is it true? Do you think Dan? I'm just going to ask you this because I don't want to get you in trouble, and I don't want other people to be
I can say
privy to
I
our.
can talk about it. I can say something. Here, you want me to say this? So I
Yeah,
was disappointed in his video because when the person asked him a question about something that he probably doesn't know about or wasn't immersed in or never heard of, instead of just saying, I don't have any idea to that question. There's probably there's probably other classicists who can answer that question. I'm a Bible scholar. That would have been like a good answer, or just not make the video. But what he did was he did this weird thing, and this isn't in my video. This isn't his video. I didn't want to waste all the time. I'm not trying to like waste time on his video. It was only a quick intro. But what he did was he did this weird thing where he pulled up an article from like 40, 50 years ago that no one talks about. Or it was I'm sorry, it wasn't an article. It was a translation of the Bacchae. It was a bad translation. A lot of people have already acknowledged, classicists have already shut this thing down and said this is trash. Nobody takes this thing seriously. I've never even heard of it. So he brings up this translation that's bad and goes, this guy in his really bad translation tries to say Semele is a virgin. He says Semele wrong. And I'm just saying to myself, why does he? Okay, in my video, I cited like 10 scholars who have written about this. Dennis McDonald, Carl Ruck, Crystal Ball, I can't remember her name. I literally, it's all in my video. I go through and say this person wrote about the Gospel of Luke and the Bacchae. This person wrote about the Gospel of John and the Bacchae. Nonus did this. These other Christian authors did this. The Nicene Peter said this. This scholar from this place said this. This scholar, I'm like going through all the material, and like that for some reason none of that gets brought up in the video, but instead he brought up this random translation of the Bacchae and said, "See, this is not good stuff. Don't look into this stuff. It's all just a bunch of people looking and squinting and trying to figure out." But like that was a really, to me, that was like and I was going to say this about people like Bart Ehrman and Dennis and Dan McClellan, who are great Bible scholars, but when they start talking about stuff outside of the Bible, they don't look that great. I'm just saying. Bart Ehrman has been, I've seen him write articles where he confuses Demetrius with Diogenes. It's like, dude, you're out of your element. It's fine. Nobody's an expert in everything. You don't have to be the all religion guru of the world. Like, just stay with what you know. Don't try to like get all. And I think there's like this, I think it's in the SBL circles where there's this like sort of a dogma in making Christianity this like, because here's what I think is going on. These are critical scholars who are very good at being critical of a lot of stuff in the Bible that fundamentalists are pushing. Dan McClellan's all over that shit. To his credit, I love it. So is Bart Ehrman. But they have this other side where it's like, I don't know if it's like they're trying to balance themselves out. When any chance they get to credit, it's like almost like if it's so obvious, the side goes to the critical side. They'll attack it and say this is wrong. But if there's any doubt that Christianity could have something right, they just credit that. They just say this is correct, or the dating of the text or something. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but do you understand what I'm saying by that? There's this like mentality where in the SBL circles where Christianity is special, unique, and needs to be in its own box, separate from all the other classics. And that to me is where I think they screw up their entire system of epistemology. How they just the Christianity is in this special world with a force field around it, and there's no influence. It's a Greek text. It's in Greek.
That's why neoclassicists laugh. And I'm really underneath, I'm blustery. I'm really laughing at Dan McClellan. I'm laughing at him because he has a show going. I've watched some of his stuff, and he leads you on as if he has this knowledge, and you can tell he really doesn't. It was the same thing with Kip Davis. You can tell when he made a statement about Greek, he had no idea what he was talking about. Intellectually, these guys need to be driven to a place of shame where because of what they're doing, our viewers out there, they don't know, right, whether or not he's really that good in Greek or not. They don't know if his arguments are sound, and pastors all over the world do that. And it's like a little device that it's like, you see someone taking advantage of a kid. Dan McClellan is taking advantage of that innocence.
Well,
that somebody's going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And that kind of Kip Davis stuff, Dan McClellan, that stuff is disreputable, boys. You gotta stand up for the wrong that you're doing. You love it. That's what I would encourage them. In the spirit of healing and cleansing, I would encourage you to step up, guys, and to say, look, we were just kind of using authority over you. We really don't do this work. When you get into these texts, you see the total opposite. So tell me, how do you think Dan took your video? Do you think he saw it?
I have no idea. To be honest.
Okay,
and I don't really care because the video wasn't really about just him. It was just kind of like an intro to show, look, this is a topic that is not well researched, in my opinion. And I think here's what I think's going on. The classicists are letting the Bible scholars keep the Bible and let them deal with it. And then the Bible scholars are saying, well, the classicists aren't saying anything about Dionysus and Jesus, so it must not be there, which is not true technically, because a lot of classicists have said stuff about this. And then they get responses like, oh, well, the Bible scholars aren't saying this, so how are you right? And there's like these two bubbles happening. And if you just train New Testament scholars in classics, then this whole thing might open up. Because Kip Davis is my friend. I'm not going to talk crap about him, but I asked him. And this you're going to laugh when you hear this, and this is not me talking shit. This is just Kip being honest, and he told me this. How much Greek? Because he has a PhD, not in Dead Sea Scrolls. I didn't know this. He has a PhD in theology and religion. And I go, what? So how much Greek did you have to learn? Theology is a Greek word. It comes from Plato. It comes from Orpheus the theologian. It comes from the Greeks. It's a Greek thing. Theology is a Greek thing. And I'm thinking to myself, how much Greek were you required to get this? How much Plato did you have to read? He laughed and said none. Well, I'm like, why don't they just give you a degree and says Dead Sea Scrolls? Because he's a whiz of the Dead Sea Scrolls. He's a whiz. He knows everything about the Dead. He can tell you what manuscript numbers and what verses. He knows all that shit. He's trained in that. But I'm like, why do they give you that title then? Just weird. It's just a weird thing because these people, they kind of present themselves as scholars of religion. But it's like, how much about the Samothracian mysteries? Huh? Yeah. What about Sabazius? Huh? What about the Thracians? What about like what we can go into like all this stuff that never gets talked about by any Bible scholars ever.
Right.
Ever. What about the cult Theos Hypsistos in the 2nd century BC? What about that? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They don't know. Like this is like gibberish to them. They're not, none of them in their whole 8 to 10 years of going to school this stuff doesn't even get brought up. It's only in the classicist world.
I saw both worlds, Neil. I got my degree in classics and taught in classics, and I taught at a seminary. And I can tell you for a fact, it's giving them the ability to be able to go back to those texts. That thing is revolutionary. When you can give somebody the ability to see the history for what it was, not through any kind of filter that's based on theology or any ideology, but just the facts of the history, just the real sauce. You liberate them. You liberate them. The best thing
You
you could do for Christianity is to give them leaders who could actually read those texts.
Sure.
And I tell my students every semester that I was in seminary, I'm not there anymore because, as they thought that somebody saw me fly through some walls and do some magic, which whatever, it's all inadmissible, right? So when you're in that situation as a classicist, you can see how important it is that they're able to find that source and work with the source. And Christians don't do that. I've not met one yet that is a real master of classical Greek and Latin. Never. So we'll see what happens. Maybe that's a challenge.
One last thing,
Neil, tell us.
One last thing about this, then I want to show you some stuff about Adam
Yeah.
and the Adamus stuff. I have some stuff on that. Kyle Ruck was the first to really do what you're doing right now and go into the trenches and challenge some of this shit. So if you read his book, The Road to Eleusis, the book that was heavily criticized and shot down, and then vindicated over time as classics caught up to him. Basically, that's kind of funny if you think about it. It's true. Classics caught up to Kyle Ruck. Now, how does one person get so? Is he smarter than everyone else? Is he got a higher IQ? No, it's not that. He's reading the text. He's immersed in the world of Greek. He loves it. He does it for fun. This is the difference between somebody who just goes to college to be a professor and they just read modern articles from modern scholarship and think that's all you have to do, and then don't read the primary sources. So I'll give you an example. At the end of his book, The Road to Eleusis, he there's a debunking section at the end. It's in the appendix. And he talks about the current archaeologist. He names the guy. I forgot the person's name. Some sort of professor, PhD archaeologist who was digging up Eleusis. And this guy starts talking about there is no connection to Demeter and Dionysus at all. We haven't found anything in the archaeology. And Kyle Ruck was like, dude, even if that's true, that you found nothing in Eleusis of Dionysus, you're just wrong. This is what the sources say. Boom, 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 boom. Just obliterates them with the primary text. Strabo says this. By the way, Iacchos is a term. It's a name for Dionysus. It's also a name for Demeter. And only them two shared that title. No one else. You don't see that with Apollo. Nobody else. So it's like, maybe you have an understanding of like the archaeology, and you're looking at the data, the raw data, and you say, all I see is this. So therefore, it's all that. Like, this is one of those things where you think about, if a tree falls down in a place that no one's there to see it, did it happen? And the answer is yes, it happened. But now, how do we find that? We have to find out how to document stuff that's not necessarily like, we have to be able to connect the dots, and we have to be able to interpret the data. And by the way, Dan McClellan always says this, in the data. He always says in the data, which is fine. This is a good. The data doesn't always mean you're going to find it saying Adamus is where Adam comes from. You're not going to find a text that says that. You have to do the work, and you have to read the text and interpret the data to find this stuff out. So that's what I'm getting at. I'm saying some of this stuff might sound speculative, but then we're talking about the data as a whole. Then it starts to make sense. When you're immersed in these texts, this stuff makes more sense. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm smarter than everybody or I'm an expert and they're not. I'm just saying there's certain things where if you are, and this is just being a nerd, actually, you can find Star Wars nerds who know more about Star Wars than some of the directors of Star Wars, probably, because they're just like super nerdy at it. And they'll wait a minute, actually Darth Vader said this. Oh shit, right, I did write that. Like and that's the thing. Like, sometimes just being very immersed and loving this stuff for just because that's part of who you are, gives you that that Kyle Ruck advantage.
Yeah, and you know what? That's why you gotta love the guy, and his draw to that language and those texts is so strong. You can see it in his eyes. Right. There's a tenderness about him, and it's a beautiful, beautiful love for that beauty that is classical Greek. He swims in that, and he has so much. You don't understand the ground that Carl Ruck has covered, right? People out there like Kip and Dan, they have studied more than he's forgotten, right? I mean, I said that backwards. He's forgotten more than they have studied,
Probably.
right? I mean, he's that close. He really respects the muse. Carl Ruck is a man who followed the muse his life, and I have tremendous respect for him. Here's to you, Lucumo, for what you've brought. And you're right, Neil. He was standing in the breach, right, when those other classists were back, just securing their jobs and getting the little bit of fame that they could possibly get.
They were saying harsh things about him. They were like really going after his character, like assassinating his character as a human being beyond the scholarship. Like, he was getting so much hate for the stuff that he was producing in his text. And then all of a sudden 20 years goes by, and then there's more research being done into entheogens and Eleusinian mysteries and Greek mystery cults. All of a sudden it's like, holy shit, everything he's been saying is coming to light. And like, all those people who criticized him 20 years ago look like morons that don't know the material. And I predict that 20 years from now, this is what we're going to be saying about scholars in the SBL. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Totally. I totally agree. Okay, Neil, tell me really quick, what is the new area that you're going to be working on for your next video? I just want people to see.
Quick. It's coming along.
Okay.
I'm almost done with it already. I'm coming along quick. I have the whole 10,000 word script written out. 10,000 words. It's about the Pelasgians, Proto-Indo-Europeans, Scythians, Thracians, Celts, Germanic pagans, Italic pagans, going all the way to India into the Hindu stuff. And I'm showing how all this stuff is connected. That's my next video. I already have it now. I already started recording it on the microphone. I'm already like halfway through it. It's going to be out quick.
I hope you do the Pelasgians.
Oh, it's all. I introduce them as the Pelasgians. I basically say in the video, from now, whether you want to call them Pelasgians, Eurasians, Aryans, I don't care. This is what we're getting at, the same thing.
Right. And I'm so glad you're doing it, because there's so many classical sources that just throw them in, just a mention of them. Oh yeah, Thessaly, was originally Pelasgian, right?
Well, you know what?
They just throw that stuff in, and you're like, who are these Pelasgians? And classicists have traditionally ignored them.
But not only that, they say it's mythological people. But hold on a second, though. They're only brought up. Well, I guess Homer writes about them in Iliad and stuff like that. But whatever, you could say that's mythological. But even Homer is not talking about them in a mythological sense. He's talking about them. He literally throws them into tribes. Like, Homer will name 6 tribes. All 5 of those tribes are real tribes, and then Pelasgians are next to them. So wait, you're telling me that only this one tribe didn't exist, but these 5 do? Herodotus mentions the Pelasgians 100 times. Probably not 100 times. I'm just exaggerating. He mentions them all throughout his text. He never says these are mythological people. They're talking about the Pelasgians. No, that's not how they're being described in the ancient sources. So we're just interpreting it our own way, saying, well, we can't find any people that call themselves Pelasgians in any text. Well, that's because these people existed before writing. So whether we call them, this is what I say in my video, whether we call them Proto-Indo-Europeans, which we made up, nobody called themselves that. So what's the difference between that and Pelasgian? You know what I mean? I guess Aryans is like people did call themselves Aryans. People call themselves Medes too. I mean, like, what I'm basically getting at is I'm saying these people all came from this Black Sea region, in between the Black and Caspian Sea, the steppe area. This is where it all begins. So, by the way, right there is where the cultivation of the vine is discovered, where wine is discovered. So this is Dionysian to its core. This is why you find all these Dionysian, and there's so many gods like Dionysus that are like the Scythians have so many different tribes, right? This is like getting really micro into this, and they all have these different names for these gods, but their functions, you can see them. You can, oh, that's Zeus. Papaios, that's Zeus. Oh, he's a sky father. Oh, there's another god goddess, the earth goddess. Oh, that's like Gaia. They all, and you can see there's a connection going on. And then you see this god. He's the vine bearer, and he's like the moisture gives growth to the crops. He's the vegetation dying and rising god, the son of the sky father. You're like, there's just so much lining up in all these different cultures. And Carl Jung gives it the word archetype. Fine, I guess that's cool. But I'm just saying, even if it's just he's trying to get it. It's all like these are archetypes that come from our minds. But I'm saying it's even simpler than that. That these people all descended from a common ancestry. By the way, this is mind blowing too. Drugs, ancient drugs, is at the center of all this stuff, because the words for holy, the words for God, when you find out that if you look at the Indians, the Sanskrit, and you compare it to the Germanic, and you compare it to the Avestan stuff that's in Persia, and then you find that these words are a little bit tweaked. Haoma, Soma, Gota, which is the word for God. The word God comes from the word drug, Soma. So you're talking about the word God itself has a connection to the ancient drugs, to the Soma.
Yeah, in that little bit that I just showed from Dioscorides, they call it, right? They're calling it the Dionysius, the dithyramb, right? They're using his title and saying the drug is him. Right. This equation, that's why the Greeks come up with the concept of entheosis, right? To have the God inside of you. How do you get the God inside of you? Right? Through the plant. That's the avenue. That's the avenue. By the way, everybody,
the root cutters are the priestesses. Why are they called root cutters? Right. Why are the priestess be called a root cutter? What is she doing with root? Because what do you think? I mean, DMT, what do you think the number one way to get DMT is? From roots. Did you know that? I bet you a lot of SBL scholars don't know that. DMT, there's a toad. That's the high, and they're very rare. You're not gonna buy the toad in the mail. You have to go and find one somewhere, which is very logistic wise. It doesn't make sense. But these roots are everywhere. Acacia trees, mimosa trees. The roots, you cut the roots up, you blend it in some water, you soak out the juices, you mix it. There's a whole process. I could tell you it, but I'm not going to do it here. There's a whole process where you can get ayahuasca or DMT from roots. So these root cutters were figuring this shit out way before we did. And this is at the center of religion itself. That's why I'm like, when a religious scholar thinks this is crazy, or you're out there, man, what the hell, man? This is crazy. No, you don't know what you're talking about. This is at the center of it all. Because if you look at these ancient texts, Soma, Haoma, and Gota, Kukian, these are all these, and this is the center of the mystery. This is the initiation. This is the most important aspect of the religion. And then you have in Christianity, you have a Eucharist. You don't think there's a connection there? I think you need to do some more reading, to be honest.
Totally. I think you need to do some more reading. I'm going to quote you. And next time I get one of these biblical scholars that the classicists laugh at because they're so bad, I'm going to say, you need to listen to Neil from Gnostic Informant, man, and go there. You know what I mean? Neil, I love it. And I love the fact, by the way, I know you may have already included it in your video, but remember that Medea in Seneca's Medea is using Pelasgian and in her chants. And he even says that in the text. Seneca says that in the text. Why would Seneca be so interested in that? Because the Caesars in their libraries were always interested in the Pelasgian connection with the Etruscans. Right. And which we know linguistically is probably there because of what
they said, that they're Trojan blood because Aeneas founded the city of Latium. Right. The Trojans are part of that Pelasgian, one of the Pelasgian tribes.
Right.
So they figured it out. And by the way, and they've invented this. I don't know how they knew this, but it turns out the Italic people are closely connected to the people from the Black Sea region. They had that same, I don't know how you haplo group, whatever. I don't know. It's the same language types and the same genetic types as people from that region. So they migrated west into Italy at some point during the Copper Age, maybe, or even the end of the Stone Age.
Yeah, the Tirsanoi, baby. The
Tirsanoi.
Tirsanoi and the connection. Remember, Circe? She lives off the coast of Italy. They kicked her out because of what she was trying to do power-wise. So that connection between the Black Sea, these are priestesses of the Chersonese, man. These are priestesses of that area now that they're fighting over, that they're trying to take back from Russia, right?
We were talking about Medea being from the eastern coast of the Black Sea, in Caucasus, right?
Yeah.
And the Medes, who have become the most powerful dynasty in the world. The Persian Empire, that's a Mede empire. They're founded by people who are Medes. And the Medes, it says in Herodotus and in Diodorus, the Medes formerly were called Aryans, and they changed their name to be of Medea.
Yeah.
Medes means Medea, like they're related to Medea. They're the sons of Medea. And by the way, in Pontus, this rich country pops up in the 3rd, 2nd century BCE. This kingdom of Pontus, and it's Sinope is the capital, and you have Mithridates the 6th, the poison king, and you know what he says? And by the way, there's a story about his birth where 3 magi come and visit him, and there's a star. It's really, really eerily similar to Christianity's birth scene, but guess what? It also says that he's descended from both Alexander the Great and Cyrus the Great, making him the fucking king of the world. Like, this is like but everybody was obsessed with genetics back then. Caesar has Venus's blood, and this person is related to this person. Well, this is like, no way. You have a king who's born from Alexander the Great and Cyrus the Great. He's the greatest of all time. And so he rises up, becomes a fucking, they said that all the wealth he had, if you converted it into dollars, it'd be like past the trillions. It'd be like uncountable how much wealth he had. He would go and fight. He also had
the Theriac that was meant to balance the communion from the Dark Harbor, and writes about it. Right? We have Roman. Here's a Roman physician who wrote about it, and he said, by the way, the real thing that you need to do with the toxicon is you need to take the Mithridatic remedy. He said that will balance it. And I thought, wow, look at that. The tech there is fantastic, right? You're developing Bronze Age stuff, funneling it through all that scientific advancement of Hellenism, and boom, right? And people think, well, the Black Sea, that's Hellenism. Yeah, it is, right? Who do you think they're worshiping? They're worshiping Diana, right? Even the Laestace, they're worshiping Diana. So, oh my God, I love it. So when is this video going to come out?
I would say probably by the end of next week.
Okay. Look at how much work that is. Can you just say something about that? How much work do you put into one of these videos?
All day. This is what I do all day long.
When you add up your script writing,
the only time I leave the house is to go to the gym. Sometimes every other day, maybe, not every day. Every other day, go to the gym, so I don't get because I was when I first started doing YouTube full time, I was working at a factory, and I left the factory, and I was in pretty decent shape back then from standing up all day and moving tires around, and then I started sitting around editing videos all day, never leaving the house, and then I gained a bunch of weight. So now I'm like figuring out, okay, now I gotta do something. I gotta get out of the house and work out and touch grass a little bit, which I've been doing. And it's been good.
Neil is transforming into Hercules as we sit here and watch. He is becoming Hercules, and I know that he knows that's a lot deeper than me just making jokes, right? And he has a lot more respect for that. But I'm fully expecting, Neil, someday for look, like I said, when the stuff happens, I need you in the boat, right? We need to work together, because I'm going to need you as Hercules. And I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic that you're not only building that muscle, but with your scholarship, bro, you're killing people right? You're killing. We're slaying. I
Poison
know
arrow.
you don't. I know
My
you don't want.
my
I know
my
you don't want
my
me to
amateur
say it.
scholarship, my amateur scholarship is poison arrows.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Herculean, exactly. Right. And I know you don't want me to say it, but you just mounted Dan McClellan's backside on your wall. You did. You took him down. He's got nothing. He can't stand it. He doesn't. I'll bet you. I'm willing to bet he doesn't even know how to track your sources. I'll bet he wouldn't even understand how to prove you wrong or right. And the funny thing is, if he bothered to get into those sources to try to prove you wrong,
I don't
he
think you
would
would.
see exactly what you're saying because your video was just you presenting sources. I love it. I love it,
And then
baby.
the last thing I want to say before we go on to my thing. Do you really think it's a coincidence that the Dionysian Epiphany was celebrated on the same day as the Christian Epiphany, which is the same day as the Dushauer's Epiphany, which is the same day as the Ion Epiphany? All of them are celebrated on January 6th. What? No way, dude. You're
Cool.
crazy. The people who think this is just a coincidence, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? That's a
Yeah.
miracle. There's no
Yeah.
way. There's something culturally happening within Christianity as well as all these other cults in the eastern realms of the Roman Empire, and they're connected. And people, Christian scholars don't want to admit this. They want to think Christianity is like this offshoot of Judaism, perfectly pure. And even though it presents itself as anti-pagan, of course, I'm so do the Platonists. So a lot of people pretend to be anti-pagan, but still borrow from pagans. This is like a normal thing at that time period.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right, Neil, hit it. You were going to present something. I'm gonna disappear for a few minutes. Everybody, here is Neil.
all right, so I got a screen on the bottom that I want to present. So the word Adamus, it means indestructible, right? Now Parmenides uses this word to describe the four elements in his On Nature, which is interesting because he talks about God creating the cosmos using four elements. And it's almost right off the bat, my spidey senses goes tingling because I'm looking at the Genesis and God creating Adam and taking his rib off and creating Ewa, right? So I'm like, okay, that's just a hypothesis at this time. So I just put that aside for a little bit. By the way, Adamus or Adam is very closely related to Hades, or it's spelled with the aspirated A-D-E-S. So you're looking at two names that start with A-D. Whenever you see something like that, you should kind of go, well, let's look into this. You got Hades and the Kori, who's called Ewa. This is a thing. Persephone's two titles. Well, she has a lot of titles, but one of them is Ewa. And she gets stuck in Hades for eating the pomegranate. Almost in a mirror image sense, analogous to Eve getting cast out of paradise for eating a fruit. By the way, the consensus right now is that it wasn't an apple, it was a pomegranate. Most people think that's what it was. It's hard to prove this, but most scholars think this was a pomegranate that Eve ate. Anyways, I have put that source back up if you don't mind. So the next thing I want to show is whoops, sorry about that. All right. I clicked on I clicked on my screen to share. All right. So I got that screen back up now. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Now, the next thing I want to go to is Plato. All right. Plato talks about this in his Timaeus. You can tell it's very Parmenidean. He's very well being influenced by Empedocles. I'm sorry, Empedocles. Or both of them. Both of them talk about the elements, right? Empedocles is first, actually, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Plato's writing about these elements. See, you could see the top, the four kinds. And he's talking about the demiurge creating the universe. He calls the cosmos, right? So, yeah, I'm not going to read all this. This is a lot. But I just want to highlight some things that he talks about when he's talking about the demiurge creating the cosmos with 4 elements. So he says it right here. He says, well, you just saw the 4 kinds. Talks about fire, earth, water, and air, solid bodies, and form a body. Huh. That's interesting. Form a body. By the way, he also talks about in this same text, I don't have it in front of me. You can look this up for yourself. Fact check me. Please do that. Always check what I'm saying. In this same exact text, I don't know if it's before this or after, but at some point he talks about the different races of humans that are made from these elements. There's the golden race, the silver race, the bronze race, and so forth. And it makes you think, like, because, I'm already trying to compare it to Genesis and thinking, like, you have this indestructible Adam who lives for like thousands of years or whatever, hundreds of years, 900 years, whatever. And he's the first Adam, and Jesus is the second Adam, right? So you have like a new creation thing going on. But let me put that aside. Let me put that for let me jump ahead on this real quick. I just want to show one more thing. So he talks about, he uses this word to describe the elements. Adam, adamant, which means indestructible. He's talking about the indestructible mixture of these elements. He calls it an offshoot of gold, which is very hard because of its density and black in color, is called adamant. So he uses the same word, which you're all probably wondering, well, why doesn't he just say Adam? Why is there more letters? And, Greek is like that, but I think there's a better reason for why they shorten this to Adam. And I'll get to that in a second. But he says, and the kind which closely resembles gold in its particles, but has more forms than one, and the density is more dense than gold, and partakes of small and fine portions of earth, so that it is harder, while it is also lighter, owing its having large interstices. What is that? Interstices within it. This particular kind of the bright and solid waters, being compounded thus, is termed bronze. And this is talking about the bronze race. He's talking about mortals being created. You get it? And the portion of earth that is mixed, by the way, there is that earth. Remember, everyone says Adam means earth. See it now? The portion of earth that is mixed therewith becomes distinct by itself, and both grow old and separate. Each form the other, and then it is named rust. That's like the lowest level rust. All right. I'm just throwing hypotheses out there right now. Now I want to show you something from the Sibylline oracles, because I've always said this. Sibylline oracles reveals a lot of these mysteries. They tell a lot of this stuff. Like, when you want to know the origins of Christianity, read the Sibylline oracles. Because what you're getting in the Sibylline oracles is you're getting people who are they don't care. They're not like team Judaism or team paganism or team this. These are people within mystery religions that are mixing all this stuff, sort of like what you get in the Greek magical papyri. But these are Roman texts written for the priestly class in the Romans. This is like high level secret stuff. Like, not everybody had not everybody had access to these texts. Now, if you I think it's F1 to search, right? Whoops. I'm still here, right? Okay, good. Let me see. If I search for Adam, check this out. There's a connection with Hades with Adam right off the bat. It says, which snatched the dreadful men away from life, and Hades then received them. It was called Hades, since Adam, having tasted death, went first, and earth encompassed him around. And therefore, all men born upon the earth are in abodes of Hades, called to go. Whoa, okay. Let's keep going. What else did they say about Adam? There's that word again. They use it to describe the gates of Hades. So you got the indestructible gates of Hades. They're using that same word, indestructible, right? All right. Here's where things get wild, in my opinion. Because often in the Sibylline oracles, and it's not just here, it's other places too. This is such a weird title. Can you guys see the screen right now? where I have it highlighted. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, there we go. Let's do this. Okay. Is that better? Okay, that's better. This is the God who formed 4-lettered Adam. The first one formed and filling with his name, east, west, south, and north. The same as he who fixed the pattern of the human form and made wild beasts. Now, this is a really odd, esoteric passage, in my opinion. Who do you know that's ever called 4-lettered anything? My name is 4-lettered, Neal. Nobody calls me 4-lettered Neil. What a weird title to give somebody. 4-lettered? Well, what if Adam being 4 letters is something to do with the 4 elements? The 4, and this is like their tetragrammaton. It's like a tetragrammaton. Like Yah-oh gets extended to Yahweh. Because the oldest fragments of Yahweh, it's 3 letters. All of a sudden it gets 4 letters. It's this weird thing going on with numbers. I don't know what it is. I'm still researching this. It's still in my hypothesis zone right now. But I just want to throw this at you. The idea that he's called 4-lettered Adam. It's like, why is he called 4-lettered Adam? Why isn't it just Adam? Or why isn't it something else? Because it signifies something's going on there. There's a reason why he's 4 letters. And I'm thinking, when we're looking at these other texts that I showed you, with Adamus being the indestructible elements that the demiurge used to craft humans with, the earth, and this is why I think Adam becomes also called earth, because there's a connection here. They're using the indestructible elements of the earth to create humans with, Adam being the first one. All right. Now you're probably thinking this is a little wild. Let me get some more evidence for this. Sure. I got one thing for you. This is going to be cool. All right. I'm going to share my screen one more time. Let me see this. Okay. Once you see it, pop it up on the screen. There we go. This is the Samothracian mysteries. Now, a lot of us know about this because we love the mystery religions. So we're all thinking, oh, yeah, I love this. By the way, in the sources and in the archaeology, these are the oldest of all. This is like Pelasgian stuff. By the way, the Pelasgians were inhabited that region, but they call themselves Pelasgians too. And they're identified with this island, this secret magical mystery religion island where these sacred priests who held the oldest, according to Diodorus, according to Strabo, according to Herodotus, according to basically anyone that writes about Samothracians, they're the oldest priestly class of all. They're holding on to mysteries that are so old they go back to like the Stone Age, right? Well, let's look at this for a second. What do they got going on? Well, turns out that they have a primordial hero called Adamus, the spiritual person. Okay? The Nicene preacher identifies this Adamus with Adam, and he also calls Jesus the second Adamus. So you already have a connection going on with Adamus. By the way, this name means indestructible here. He's the indestructible hero. That's the primordial god, like demigod of the mysteries. And so, brief history of the mystery rites. The rites went back to pre-Greek Thracian Pelasgian inhabitants of the Samothracians. This is why the priests of the rites preserve in their liturgies pre-Greek Thracian words. This is why my video has so much on the Thracians are the I love the Thracians. I can't wait to tell you guys about the Thracians. They are the best. They are the best. I'm starting to almost like them more than the Greeks. Sorry. I know that's blasphemy to some of you. The Thracians are the fucking best. I'm sorry. I have to say it. And by the way, the Greeks would say that too. The Greeks love the Thracians. All the religion in Athens is all Thracian shit. Imported. Orpheus was a Thracian bard. You know what I'm saying? You get it? Dionysus is all over Thrace. Anyways. So you have this religion where that's pretty much it. Okay, that's it. Stop sharing. So you have a primordial demigod called Adamus in the oldest mystery religion. It's way older than Judaism or Christianity. Before there's even a thought on the radar, because they're all polytheists in Judea at this time. They're not. There's no Judaism yet. It's a way. That's like Hellenistic thing, and maybe Persian thing, but in the sources, it's a Hellenistic thing. There's no synagogue till 200 BCE, not one. So I'm just saying, like, this is stuff that predates Genesis. And now, by the way, there's other words for man in Hebrew. It's not Adam. Adam is a secondary term. They don't say, hey, that Adam over there, get him over here. They say there's another word they use. I can't think of it right now. It is.
I think it's ish.
Right, it is.
Yeah.
I should know that, but I just forgot. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, can you imagine, Neil? Can you imagine now the person who stepped up and who is having to compose the Torah, right, in Greek, right? They're making this text and they're trying to establish their own tradition that'll give them the legitimacy that they need. And what are they doing? Look at what you've done with Adam, right? They're borrowing from the Greek tradition and they're trying to claim it, right? They're trying to be able to say, okay, it's appropriation, right? And they, of course, they have to, because they're buried in Alexandria with the behemoth that is the Greek tradition of history and drama, all sorts of lyric poetry. They're buried by that. So you can see that whoever wrote it was trying to justify or create a culture, right? So yeah, we see that. I love the fact that what you're doing is you're looking at it from those texts and where they are in history. It's brilliant. And I know that this is a war, baby, for this knowledge, and nobody can stand against you when you just pull out those sources like that. I love it, man. I love it. Congratulations on doing such a great job. I do want to ask you about your presentation. I want to ask you, what was that I saw about? You flashed it off the screen real quick. You don't bring it back, but it was something about erections with Adam. Something about Adam's erection. Do you think it's strange that they would be focusing on it, or isn't that just in the temples? To the muse, we've got a giant erect phallus there, right? That's part of the deal. Are you saying that these people had their own Hermes? And do you think those statues of Hermes with the erections on them that we see all over the roads, right? They're like mile markers, right? You've got a Hermes there with a big erection.
That's what they are. They're directionals for people, because back then you don't have GPS. You're not walking around with a map in your hand, because it's you know what I mean. So you walk around,
follow
these roads,
follow the erections,
follow the phallus, points to the way.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm gonna give you the last word.
Priapus is called the good, the agathos, the good daimon, agathos daimon. So
love it. God, isn't that good? People, look what. Okay, I'm going to end it there because that was pure dessert, right? You can see that Priapus. Wait, but Neil, I do want to ask you. You went to the Met, right? And you saw the room with all the Priapus stuff. Just can you tell people 1 minute on that? Just
there's
general?
Hundreds of thousands of these things. I'm not joking. Hundreds of thousands of these Priapus statues that Greeks and Romans and Egyptians and Syrians all would put on their houses, on their like garden gnomes. And these were, because Priapus is a symbol, the phallus. And if you read about Priapus in the Orphic hymns, he's the last of the generation from Phanes, the uncreated one. So sometimes the name's hyphenated, Phanes, Priapus. They're all one line of gods, going from Phanes all the way through to Dionysus, and then Dionysus and Aphrodite, the two most sacred gods and goddess of the mysteries. Dionysus and Aphrodite, Venus and Bacchus. That's Lucifer, baby. That's the morning star. You can't get a better union than that. And they birth Priapus. Priapus is the holy child of Venus and Bacchus. What? How come no one ever talks about Priapus? Where is he in the discussion of gods? I'm bringing him out more because this is a big deal. He's the child of Venus and Bacchus.
Oh, God, you Thracian bastard. What are you doing? You're going to ruin us all. I love that. I love that. Look at how deep you are into that stuff. You're not going to be able to come out of that, man.
By the way, I am
right.
Thracian, actually. I'm Slavic, so I kind of am Thracian.
Look, it's your own ancestors calling you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh my God. Okay. Chewy made a video that I want to show. It's the hymn to Apollo, just a short one. And I want you to see, because Neil ended there on Lucifer, right? Ended there on Eosphoros. And this is the house of the dawn bringers.
Phosphorus.
Yeah.
And phosphorus.
Nice.
Well, phosphorus.
And phosphorus. Yes, right. Light bringer. Good. Hit us, Chewy. I'll bet you didn't know, Satanic Congregation, that Apollo and Pan were called the same in the ancient world. When you begin to understand that, you realize why it is that Apollo was the Bacchic Lord, called the Bacchic Lord. Love it. Neil, thank you so much for coming tonight. I'm going to give you a last word, anything you want to say, and then we're going to finish out with a little half of a music video from Ted, right? Teddy Bass. Love it. By the way, Neil, how do you like the music from Teddy Bass?
Great. Oh, I thought you were playing some like some real produced, some like pops. I thought you were like, no, that's the dude we were talking to in the group chat. No shit, that sounds amazing. He sounds like a real professional rapper, and I was enjoying that shit. Like, I'll play that all day.
Yeah, no, he's friggin' Orpheus, man. I'm telling you, he's Orpheus.
It's so good to hear those lyrics. Oh my God.
Yeah, the production quality that Teddy has is amazing. And what I like most of all is when I listen to songs, it's always lyrics first. And
he's performing the Dithi Rambos. He's performing the Dithi Rambos.
Yeah, exactly. Well said, brother. Well said. Well said. That was perfect. Thank you for coming tonight, everybody. And hail Satan.
Hail Satana.
Take it to the dream, big wheel in the sky shining. Centurion, dance with the muse, pouring out the poison with the ones and twos. Hail Satan, love Artemis at the Greek picnics. Bronze Age love affair, honor to Lucifer. Shouting from the rooftops, Amatia, Hakatia, Pharmakia, Aphrodisia, sugar sweet leaf, purple green, fantastic hot purple. There's something in the drink, fuck what you think. You want the good stuff? Meet me at the phone booth by the K-Circle. Hot purple slurple. Something in the drink at the Greek picnics. Something in the drink. Something in the drink at the Greek picnics.